dear viewers, welcome to one of my podcasts, and today I have a very special guest that I admire tremendously. Today's guest is Diala. Welcome, and I'll tell you a little bit about where I met this lady. I was doing a seminar, and this wonderful energy approached me in the seminar and said, would you come to one of my events? I said, sure. I said sure before even thinking where the event was or what it was about. And I found out later on that this lady inspires many young business owners how to be successful in running their businesses. And the program is called LaunchDXB. DXB standing for Dubai, I guess, right? So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Dariush, for having me with you.
It's my honor. It's between Christmas and New Year, so I appreciate that you had family time and you found the time to come and see us. Tell me a little bit about you. Because you're still very young. What kind of experience have you gained for you to be able to advise businesses at such a young age to be successful? Or tell us about LaunchDXB.
Okay, so actually my background starts with working closely with startups in Lebanon, my own home country. I worked there for the past 6 years with startups emerging from universities and being founded by staff, students, or even faculty members. So I worked in pre-incubators at the university, and I also had the chance to work with the Global Accelerator. I got to actually witness and work with so many startups and at different stages of their own journey. From there, I started to have this passion towards working with startups and with the whole startups ecosystem. I saw how vibrant, how lively, and how innovative this culture is, and I started to find real love towards it. So before I was moving here to Dubai, I was trying to look for different opportunities that I can venture forward with for my career life here. And I got to actually get to know my two other co-founders who also share a startup passion with them. We've thought of having this LaunchDXB as a small project on the side, just as a community that inspires startups. However, we found a real value for it and the gap that it was able to fill in the ecosystem. So we thought of actually making it a platform that can best support startups and an entity by itself, and not only a community that stands there for startups. So from there we emerged, and we started to look around to check what gaps were there, to ask different startups, ecosystem members and community members of what do they need from the startup ecosystem, and we started to fill the gaps as we go.
That's amazing. So let's go back a little bit, if you don't mind. In Lebanon, what was your degree in? What was your degree in?
Funny enough, my degrees have nothing to do with entrepreneurship. I have a BA in public administration with a minor in political science, and then I pursued a master's degree in media studies, emphasis PR and communication. They were both from the American University of Beirut.
Amazing. And so how did that get into you meeting startups and incubators and so forth?
Actually, it was because of a part-time job I applied to during my master's degree studies. So I applied for an administrative job in the pre-incubator in AUB. My job was actually just an administrative job. However, I started to develop myself as I go with this post in specific, and I honestly had an amazing role model and an amazing director who empowered me in every possible way.
Was he an entrepreneur or was he a professor?
She has a medical degree, and she was the director of the whole grants and contract center in AUB. Her name is Fadia Hmaidan. I adore this person because she really empowers us, and she did empower me to actually pursue my full potential and to explore different aspects of my own personality and different aspects of the center I was running. So I was able to grow with it in a tremendous way, and I was able to explore different aspects of entrepreneurship and startups. She gave me the opportunity to expand the center internally in AUB and externally with the whole ecosystem. Wow. So that's how I got to actually to know about startups, ecosystems, accelerators, incubators, and all of that.
Amazing. So, just a random question. I don't have an education. Do you think I could advise my children, because they all want to be entrepreneurs? Some of them are entrepreneurs. I have 4. Sounds like a whole football team. Out of 4, 2 are entrepreneurs, 2 are too young to become business owners. Would you advise my children to go to university, or would you say just go straight into business, and why? If they're going to run their own businesses.
Honestly, it depends. Like sometimes it's something innate in the person himself. You can find a five-year-old kid who can actually sell you this glass of water for a couple of dollars without you even knowing. It's something innate in the person himself. It's just self-driven by the passion for entrepreneurship and the knowledge for entrepreneurship. Definitely courses, education help you a lot and help you like gain expertise throughout different domains and in different like aspects. However, it's not the only thing for you to be a successful entrepreneur. You need lots of practice, education, resources. You need to be open to actually learn more from different people, because the whole entrepreneurship journey is a learning curve. You have to learn from different stakeholders, from different people who were in your shoe before, who walked your journey. So you have to be open to all of this, but I cannot say that you should not go for university's degree. I myself, I am a nerd, so I love degrees and I love like studying. So I do believe it helps you a lot.
But does it prepare you for being an entrepreneur, universities? Because again, I'm open to it, but I feel my experience, and I again could be wrong, is that university professors often couldn't make it in the real world, so they started teaching, right? And I haven't been to university. Do they teach you entrepreneurship? Are there entrepreneurs who decide to become professors at university? What do they actually teach you? Because I've had people working for me who amazing come out of university. I've had people come out of university who have zero common sense. Mm-hmm. So
exactly. Reflecting on my own university, on AUB,
Please.
we actually have a really an active entrepreneurship ecosystem, if I can say, and an entrepreneurship culture, if I can say. Because if you go, for example, to our business school, you will find many entrepreneurs themselves who are actually professors teaching a specific degree or a specific course around entrepreneurship. For example, I can talk about Dr. Kittane, who teaches business, family business and entrepreneurship, and he is actually running one of his own family businesses in Lebanon. Right. So he has both the academic and the practical knowledge behind it, and this is actually an amazing combination for both.
Yeah, because you got time for the guy who's doing it and teaching it at the same time.
Exactly, like he's really practicing what he preaches at the same exact time, so you get to learn from him in real life.
Sure. Again, it could be our ignorance. Lebanon doesn't seem like a very entrepreneurial place. So I'm obviously wrong, right?
Actually,
because I'm thinking of war zone, political issues, financial challenges. So what's life like as for an entrepreneur in Lebanon?
Actually, we have a quite active entrepreneurial ecosystem, as I said. You have lots of support from the Central Bank of Lebanon. You have support from different universities. So we have pre-accelerators and pre-incubators at the university level. You have many accelerators and incubators in the country as well. Many competitions. So it is a quite a dynamic ecosystem. Wow. And I do believe because of all these problems, from economic to political to war issues to everything, people find that they have to be the solutions for these problems, and this actually ignites their entrepreneurial spirit.
So they become gladiators.
Exactly, and drives them to actually run businesses that can help solve all these problems that we face on a daily basis.
Amazing. So what brought you to Dubai?
Actually, my husband is based here. So the reason behind moving here was because we wanted to get married and to move here to the country. However, I had Dubai in my mind for a couple of years back because, again, I know how active the ecosystem is here. Mm-hmm. And we know it from Lebanon, for example. Any startup who wanted to scale up in Lebanon, the very first destination that came to their mind was Dubai. So it made lots of sense for me to move here, both for family issues and for work.
I know you got married July last year. Oh, this year.
This year.
It's not last year yet. And so you haven't been in Dubai that long?
I was actually working a couple of months. I officially moved to Dubai in August. So eventually, yes, I haven't been here for long.
August of 2009? Yes. You're kidding me.
Yes.
So you got all this done since August 2009?
Actually, we're working on LaunchDXB since April. And I was just working on stuff in Lebanon, doing all the phone calls, emails, organizing events. I'd come here, perform the event, then go back to Lebanon, keeping on going back and forth.
Are you telling me you got this done in less than 7-8 months?
Yes.
That's incredible. So that's incredible. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I would have thought it was years you've been here. So tell me about the members, how many you have, what kind of businesses are ranged from, age groups, please.
So, okay. So far, as I said, we started our first version of the platform. It was just supposed to be a community of startups that ignites some inspiration in them on a daily basis.
Do they pay to become members?
No, every single thing is free of charge for all the startups. We're really here to actually support them as we can. So we started that community of startups. We realized that we attracted many people, and people didn't just want to get connected with one another. They wanted someone to help them in doing things the right way. So they started to ask us for help in doing certain things, like how to form our company, how to build our business plan, financial model, anything. So that's why we thought of having this platform for entrepreneurship, for entrepreneurs, which supports them from A to Z. So we regularly hold workshops and training sessions. And in addition to this, we have our website where different entrepreneurs get to connect and book sessions with mentors. They can hire talents if they need. They can tell their story as a startup and build their own profile. They can check different startup services in Dubai in terms of registering a company and anything they might need. So we formed this community. It actually grew so fast, and we're really thankful about this. So far, we have around 60 startups registered on the website.
That's incredible.
Yes. In addition to around 200 uprising entrepreneurs regularly join our events and the workshops. So we really grew exponentially in this really short time of period, and which shows the need that we were actually filling in this ecosystem.
And this is word of
the gap
mouth?
we're filling.
Word of mouth.
Yes. We actually don't invest anything in digital marketing. We didn't run any ads on Google or even social media. And all our growth up until now is organic reach.
So thank you, that's incredible. So where do you see your income coming from? If everything's free of charge, who's going to look after you?
Exactly. So before we actually wanted to delve deeper into the business aspect of the platform, we wanted to test the waters and to check if it is a successful model that can be carried forward in the upcoming years. So our model is going to be based on a couple of things. First off, it's based on sponsorships we get for the launch days that we host on a monthly basis. And second, for sponsorships we get for the website itself. So every section is going to be sponsored somehow by a corresponding sponsor that has a similar mission to what we're delivering through this section.
I understand. Thank you. So let's say, because it is confusing out there, if somebody open up a license, do I do a free zone, do I do mainland, which free zone do I go to? Do you have preferred partners you work with, or you open the door for who advises them which direction they should go?
So for our startups, we try to first sit with them in order to understand all their needs, because you as an entrepreneur, sometimes you feel overwhelmed, and there's sometimes a very small, tiny step that you need to do in order for you to get everything clear for your startup journey. So we try to sit with these startups at first, give them a preliminary assessment of what they need to do and how they should proceed with this. As a platform, we're actually open to all players in the ecosystem. So we don't have any exclusive partnerships or any exclusive partnerships, I can say. So for the time being, we have our own partners from free zones and company setup companies, but we're also open to actually expand it to all other players. So for example, if an entrepreneur reaches out to us and they want to register with a specific free zone that we're not partners with yet, we're more than happy to initiate a partnership with them through this startup in specific. Amazing. So that's how we move forward with our operations.
Okay, cool. And how often do you organize meetings? The meetings that I spoke with, it must have been one of your first.
It was actually our third.
That's amazing. So how often do you have these meetings, and how do you choose the speakers? Because I noticed that before me there were other speakers, and after me you had exercises for everyone. So tell me a little about those. How often do you have them? What kind of exercises do you put in place? Because you were guiding them throughout the event, right?
Exactly. So in 2019, our model was having one event per month. However, as we're moving forward with the events, and as we realize that people really want and are eager to get things done fast, we want to host more than 2 or 3 events per month in 2020, catering to different needs, different topics around entrepreneurship. The way they go, we have a set theme for the days. So as we move forward with the launch days, we delve deeper into startup related topics, and we start to talk about more technical aspects of entrepreneurship. So this is how we proceed, and the speakers, we actually research them well. We either connect with them on either social media platform, we follow them closely to check their own communication approach, the value of the content they're giving, or we attend one of their own sessions, just as I did for your own session, and they fall in love with your content.
Did you actually come to the event just to see me talk?
Actually, I was really interested in the topic
itself. Were you stalking
itself.
me, right? Okay.
We can say both. I was really interested in the topic. Right. I have a love towards sales and marketing, and also we had an event coming in a couple of days after it, so it was really like logical for me to be in this event.
Amazing.
I honestly fell in love with the content and with the genuinity you had around, so that's why I thought that you were the perfect match for our own event.
Right. It was a beautiful event. I loved it. I think I had an 8 till late event. I was up till 2 in the morning.
Exactly.
And the last thing I wanted to do was come to your event, and the energy was so amazing. I loved every second of it. And I didn't want to go. I was falling asleep on my feet and I didn't want to go. So you got 2 partners. How did you meet these partners, and how's your partner? Because partnership in business can be a really tough thing. How did you find them? How's the partnership going? Do you have different strengths and weaknesses where you all fit in?
Exactly. So we try to fill in the gap. So as I said, we're filling in the gap here, specifically in Dubai. Yeah. We realized that if you have a business idea and you want to actually move forward with it, the very first thing you can do is apply to an accelerator or incubator here.
Right.
But however, for you to be able to apply to these, you need to have a well-developed business model, financial plan, pitch deck, and anything that a regular startup should have. And many people, they don't have the skills needed or the knowledge needed to make this jump. So we're here to fill this gap. And accordingly, every single player in the ecosystem is supposed to be one of our own partners, and this is how our model plays around it. So we're partners with most of the accelerators and incubators here in Dubai.
Well, you have 2 partners yourself. The founders are 3 of you, correct?
We're actually, yes, 3 co-founders.
So, now, how did you become founders? Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Actually, it was out of chance, like really random. For me, as I was applying to a job, as I was planning to move here to Dubai, I found LaunchDXB's platform on Instagram. I actually fell in love with the branding and how it looks. So I casually sent them an email. Hello guys, it was like really this smooth and this cool. Hello guys, I'm recently moving to Dubai and I just want to check if you have any vacancies for me. So they reply back to me that they're actually looking for a co-founder to join them with a startup background that has an expertise in business and business development. And it moved together. Thankfully, we really have a great team dynamics. We understand and respect each other, and we have amazing skills on board, which are my co-founder skills that I really am grateful for.
Incredible. And you all do it full time?
I'm the only full-timer on this.
Wow. So your role is more sales and marketing and growth, correct?
Exactly, growth plus events planning.
That's amazing. So where are you going? What's the plan for 2020?
So for 2020, we're going to be having more events, as I said, and we're going to
Same location or different locations?
Every single time we host it in a different location, trying to engage as many communities as we can. We're going to be having lots of events. We're going to be having big partnerships. Hopefully, we're signing a couple of partnerships in the beginning of 2020 because we really want to provide our startups and entrepreneurs as much value as we can. And we actually do want to be this body that is the connector between entrepreneurs and accelerators and incubators. So we want to be this reference for anybody who wants to move forward with their idea to actually reach out to us, help us develop it, and then let them actually grow with the ecosystem.
That's amazing. So more partners, more events, 2 or 3 events a month, different locations, and numbers of members. How many?
Of attendees?
In 2020, you've gone
so
from 60 sign up on the website, 200 actively coming. What's your growth for next year?
We want to actually grow as much as we can. I want to have I want LaunchDXB to be a platform for any startup at whatever stage, just for it to connect and to learn from different players. So I want to actually multiply this number by 5 or 6 times.
Cool, and I'm sure you can. Now, give me top 3 reasons why people don't start their own businesses, from your experience.
3 reasons.
And then I'm going to ask you for top 3 reasons why people fail in running their own businesses.
Okay. So mainly, and the usual excuse I get is that people don't have time for it, that they are too occupied with their own full-time jobs and they really don't have the time to work on the startup themselves. The other excuse is that they don't have the financials and they're really worried about quitting their job in order to focus on their own startups. And the third reason is because they don't have the right talents in order to get them on board and move forward with the startup. Sometimes people, they just have the technical background, they don't have any business background to it, and sometimes it's the other way around. So these are the main 3 reasons I got to actually learn about from different people who just failed to start up. Yeah. And in terms of failures, also what was really common is the different the mistakes, if I can call them, that take place inside the team. So team dynamics is a really important aspect of any startup to succeed. So eventually people really need to focus on their own teams for them not to fail. The second thing that can come to my mind about failure is actually also being too aggressive towards getting funding and seeking investors. Sometimes, and unfortunately, whenever you run after money, you actually run away from your own startup success.
Yes.
So it creates a huge gap between you being able to fulfill your startup goal. So this is a really major failure. And the third failure is not being able to offer the right solution to the problem. So sometimes people think that they're offering the perfect solution to the problem being
but
addressed.
But no market research, there is no need for the product or service. Amazing. And if you give 3 advice for business to be successful, what would they be?
First, you have to really focus on the solution you're offering. So regardless of anything else, just think, what problem do I want to fill or to solve, and what is my proposed solution? As you said, you have to understand your market well, to understand who are the people who are going to be benefiting from the solution or buying it.
Are they willing to pay for it?
Exactly, and are they really willing to pay for it or not? And as is the common startup advice, don't ask your family and parents only, ask any person.
They're going to tell you what you want to hear, right?
Exactly. True. Just reach out to any person you might think of. Second thing is be careful about the team members you're having on board, because you're going to be working with them closely for many years to come. It's like a mini marriage or a lifetime marriage sometimes. Yes. So you have to...
Because you can be working with your partners more than you work in your marriage, right?
Exactly.
Because you're at the office more often than you're at home.
Exactly. And you need to have mutual understanding and mutual respect, otherwise things are not going to work well between you. And the third thing is properly structure your journey. So put clear plans for yourself. Try and please don't be obsessed with money and generating any financials, because it's not the aim behind the startup itself. So try to give yourself some time to grow, to test the waters, to experiment before you actually start generating money and proving your business model.
Yes. Have you seen any, thank you for that. Have you seen any startups that you look at and you think, oh my God, these guys are going to be huge? Honest truth. Like, I wouldn't mind doing something with these guys.
So here, for example, I really love what Fulusi are doing. I really love what Kino is doing. These are 2 of our own startups.
Yes.
So Fulusi, for example, they offer an alternative payment solution for startups and for any person who just wants to transact some money between, to transfer money between 2 different accounts. So you can easily process any payment to any startup, any company, through just sending them a link. They would get in, they would enter their card details, pay the payment, and that's done. So this is a really smart solution, especially for startups and people who are just starting a small hustle on the side, and they just don't want to go with the whole banking hassle for the time being. So I do believe that they have an amazing future here.
So how well are they doing? How long have they been established?
They've been here for a couple of years. Actually, they have amazing partnerships with big banks, and they worked closely with the central bank to get their approvals. So yes, they were on the real right track.
They're doing well.
Yes, they're amazing. Okay.
Introduce me to them, please, because I have loads of clients who want to trade.
Definitely.
Because we were actually having a conversation today saying that it's so difficult sometimes for a small business to take money.
Exactly.
And
especially with the banking requirements here and compliance issues, it's really hard to open a bank account. Please do introduce me. Will do.
So what's the size of their team? Small, big? Are they IT people?
I do believe they have a couple of hires by now. I'm not sure about the exact number of team members, but I do believe they have 2 co-founders.
Wow, incredible. Congrats. And the other company you mentioned?
The other company, they're called Kino. So eventually they're car washing application on the go. So you can actually also request their services anytime. They recently got a huge funding as well. So they've tested the waters well. They really understood what was the need for their own model, and they're doing an amazing job as well.
Amazing. Do you think it's going to get to the stage where these guys will say, well, thank you very much. Launch is finished now. We're established. We want to move on?
I don't think so, because again, we're here as a community, so eventually we just want to have different members to interact with one another. So even if you are an entrepreneur, a well-established entrepreneur by now, it's time for you to give back to the community. Wow. So that's how we engage our own members. Wow, and for example,
so they come back and share their experiences.
Exactly. For example, Omar, the co-founder of Fulusi, was one of our own speakers in the last event. So that's how we try to engage them with our own community on the go. It's not only about taking, it's also about giving. So that's how we have our community going.
Wow, incredible. And do you work with any universities or government or anything like this as yet?
Actually, yes, we're working closely with universities here, and we're trying to establish more partnerships. And again, because of my own background in AUB, I do understand and value the importance of having universities on board. And personally, I get really triggered and really annoyed by the fact that some startups in engineering, let's say, they spend 3 to 4 years of their own lives working on a certain project, and then they just present it for their final years and put it on the side. This research is really valuable. It has like a lot of value in it.
Yes.
You just need to give it a small push to enter the market because you're almost there. You did all the research needed. You saw the market need for it. So I really understand the value of having universities on board, and this is why we're trying to engage as many as we can. We're in talks with AUD, with Holt International Business School, with DIDI, Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation, and we're actually in contact with more startups, with more universities as we go. And in terms of governmental bodies, we're also now, after proving our concept, we want to start approaching them. For now, we have DSO and the tech with us on board, and we're approaching many other bodies as we go.
That's incredible. So tell me about Diala's day. How do you, because there's so much to do, right? So how do you spend every day of your week? I know you don't stop. So how do you organize yourself? How do you make sure you're building these relationships, looking after your incubators, the new starters? Tell me about it. How do you manage your day?
Exactly. Being
So
the
much going
full-timer,
on.
the only
And do you
full-timer.
because at the moment you don't have an income because you're investing something, right?
Exactly.
So how do you keep yourself motivated?
Exactly. So my day actually goes, given I'm the only full-timer on the team, so it is a little bit hectic. I try to organize my days as I can. So for example, on Sundays, I just like specify it and dedicate it for replying back to all the emails I have in my inbox so that I don't have any distractions and I'm just like fresh for the week. And as we go, I start to actually plan things as per priority. So every single week I set a certain goal for it. For example, planning an event, reaching out to sponsors, reaching out to partners or anything like this, and I just plan the week accordingly. So this is how I keep myself going. In terms of motivation, seeing the platform grow by itself, having people reach out to us in order to get partnerships and some huge names to actually reach out to us and to host events together is actually by itself rewarding. So away from all the financials, this is the only motive that's actually keeping me going and pushing me forward.
That's amazing. And how often do you meet with your partners, your founders?
So we usually meet around 1 time per week. Every single Tuesday usually, in order just to go over the whole plan of the week, reflect a little bit on what was done, and move forward with the plan for the upcoming week.
Do you have an office? Do you go to the office, or you do? You do have.
We do have an office.
So it helps to go to the office, right?
Sorry?
It helps to go to the office because I used to be self-employed, and it's different type of motivation required to work from home. Because I couldn't make calls with my pajamas on, right? I had to physically get dressed in a professional attire before. So, what time do you start work in the morning? What time do you go to the office? Do you work 7 days a week, or do you plan do you have a balance in your life?
Yes, we actually it depends on the mood. Sometimes I do work from home, and sometimes I do push myself to go to the office. But I try on average to check into the office at least 3 times a week, in order just to be there, be present, and in case anybody just wants to jump into our office, we're there to answer all their questions. In terms of working, I do understand how challenging it is for you to be an entrepreneur and to run your own business, because even some people, they're really after having the freedom of time. However, if you're free and if you're traveling and if you have your laptop on the side, you're going to be working. You can't stop yourself from thinking about this upcoming event or that partnership agreement you are about to sign. You're always occupied with what you're doing. And I do consciously stop myself at actually worrying about all of this. And sometimes I do plan my day that at certain hours, at 8 p.m. for example, I have to shut down my computer no matter what.
Have a life, right?
Yes, because else it's not gonna succeed. For example, I newly got married, so eventually I have a whole marital life that I need to maintain as well. And if I don't give it enough time to nourish, I'm gonna lose it as well. So I have to balance things as much as I can, and I need to enjoy life. I'm against the model of actually having to work. You're just working.
Do you sleep well at night, or is your mind constantly active?
Oh, That's mine. It's constantly
Constantly
active.
active. Do you have a notepad by the side of the bed? You wake up and write things down to and just empty. Oh, it's horrible,
Or
isn't
on
it?
the phone, like
Oh,
immediately
yeah.
typing
No, you
something
don't
on
turn the
go.
phone on because you wake your husband up, right? No, I just turn around and go, shh. And I don't know what the hell I write in the morning. I'm like, what the hell was that about? Yeah.
Exactly.
Or take the phone quietly to the bathroom and just to write something that had been there. Okay, cool. Your parents, were they entrepreneurs?
My father actually had his own family business. It was a traditional grapes and vineyard growing agricultural business. So he's not the traditional definition of an entrepreneur, but he did run his own family business by himself.
Because when I talk to you, if you feel like you were a born entrepreneur, you were born to run your own business. Something I notice in entrepreneurs is that they don't blame the environment. Not in the past 45 minutes been speaking, is that not once you blame the environment, you don't blame anything. You said people fail because of the internal issues, not because outside, because often I hear that, oh, the politics aren't right, the environment isn't good. That doesn't affect an entrepreneur making money, does it?
Exactly. If you want to think about it that way, there are hundreds and thousands of reasons for you to fail. So, and why did other people, for example, in my same exact ecosystem, like let's say like Lebanon, they actually were able to scale it big and to succeed in their own journey, and me, I'm not able to do it. For me, it's not only about the environment. The environment can give you the resources that you need to grow and to move forward with your business, but it's not the only restraint or the only constraint for you to actually be able to move forward with your business. If you have the will, you will find the way no matter what, and no matter what resources you have around or what environment you're in.
I believe there's never been a better time than now to be successful, right? Because information is the tip of your fingers, right?
Exactly.
Anything you need is there.
The access of resources you have, even if something you don't have here, you can have access to it from on
Anywhere
the other side of the
world.
world.
Yeah.
If you need a talent that you're not having here in Dubai, for example, you can hire someone from Singapore or anywhere around the world to help you with your own task and to move forward with the startup. So even if you have limited resources, you can still find other resources to work on and to move forward with whatever you're doing.
Yes, incredible. Amazing. How about, do you ever see yourself writing a book? Maybe it's too young, too early.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a huge market out there for you, young people who want to learn from you. I mean, the experience you have dealing with all these companies, 6 years in Lebanon here, dealing with all these young, and only in business 7 months. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Because what you have in you is priceless. The information you have in you is priceless. Do you find people value information? Do you find young people value what they learn? Or is it just the expected? Is there a sense of entitlement to young people these days? All people like me are complaining about the new generation. They're saying there's a sense of entitlement. They don't want to work for it. What do you think?
Actually, so far I faced the two, let's say, but the higher percentage of the people I encountered were the people who really value the information you give them. So with my experience with working with startups, like for example, I sat with more than 200 teams by now in order to talk about their own startup ideas and their own startup journeys. And most of the time, I really find people taking notes, writing down what I suggested, trying to really take the value out of our conversation, even if it was a random chat over coffee or a random chat in an event. And sometimes other people, if you give them as many information as you can and as much value as you can, you feel that they really don't care, and sometimes it's because of ego, I'd say. Some people think that I can find this information elsewhere, or oh yes, I know what I'm doing. So you do have these two personalities, but so far, thankfully, I had the majority of them really value what was being given to them, and they were really actively listening to what I was saying or what other speakers were saying. So yes, that was my journey so far.
What I find is that if they don't invest, they don't appreciate. So in my experience, when you do a free event, people go, yes, yes, yes. And you see the same people in the same similar events over and over again, but they never take action, right? Because taking action is a tough thing because you're going to get rejected. So how do you feel young people can they cope with rejection? Because in business, you're going to get a lot of rejections, right? You hear about Disney being rejected over 100 times by banks, yes? Who's the guy who did the light bulb? What's his name? Edison, thank you very much. 10,000 tries, yes, he failed before he got the light bulb working. Do you think there are people out there who are prepared to graft and grind? Because the real world is grafting and grinding, isn't it? You're going to get rejected so many times before you get the next yes.
Exactly.
What do you think? Do you think people are prepared?
Some people are, others are not, and probably it's because of, again, the age we're living in. Like for you, everything is accessible this time of the year of life, and everything is accessible. If you need something and it's not available in Dubai, you can actually get it shipped from all around the world. So because people see how easy the lifestyle is and how easy everything is, how accessible everything is, they sometimes underestimate how hard things are to actually get them done. And for some people, yes, they really understand. They really think that, okay, I have what it takes to actually succeed. I'm gonna give it a try. If it works, good for me. If not, then it wasn't meant to be.
Yes.
This is not the right mentality, and this is actually what separates a real entrepreneur from someone who is just trying to become an entrepreneur with just the wrong mentality behind it.
Yes.
So this is actually what.
So it's not about the financial circumstances; it's about the mentality.
It's both. Like sometimes
because you can get a wealthy person coming to you, but he's got the right mentality, or she has the right mentality to go and get it.
Exactly.
Right?
Like for example, one of my dear friends in Lebanon, she actually comes from a a really well-resourceful family, and she's actually a really successful serial entrepreneur. So she has all the financials, but still she actually found lots of gaps. She was so smart to actually fill them up, and she was able to score many of the startups. She actually sold one of her startups last year. So it's not only about financials, it's about the mindset itself.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, what I say is that don't grind to get the money. Work on your business and the money will come to you, right? You're attracted rather than keep going for it. And also, if you're constantly going for money, you tend to sometimes forget your values. So I think it's really important to write your values down and stick to it.
Exactly.
And exceed and over-deliver and provide value to the marketplace. Amazing.
Exactly.
Amazing. I would love to have you back here this time next year. I'd
Yalla,
love you to come back and tell us about your success. And I'm sure you're going to surpass all expectations. Really do. So,
thank you.
And I'd love to speak again in one of your events. It'd be my pleasure.
Would love to, definitely. Our attendees actually loved you. We really love your vibes around. We really love the continuous support and the amazing spirit you have. This is what we look for our community. So thank you for being with us in our own community, and thank you for having me here.
It's an honor, and it will be an honor to speak with you again. Now, if our listeners want to connect with you, could you please share your details with them so they know where to, which link, what website, LinkedIn, how can they connect with you and LaunchDXB?
Okay, so they can first check us on our own website. We have our website, LaunchDXB.com. We have our own Instagram account, Facebook page, and LinkedIn page, LaunchDXB. We're active there. We're always accessible. And if they want to connect with me personally, they can reach me and find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Diala Dawood. I'm just a message away.
Amazing. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diala.
Thank you.
My honor.
My pleasure always.
Thank you.